And now, marine weather around Alaska.
All right, for tonight's weather, just basically east-northeast wind flow across central northern Bering Sea and a few showers along the way there, but mostly dry for the central and western Aleutians. Chance of showers or light rain for the Fox Islands, Alaska Peninsula. And again, not much change here. Southern Alaska continued occasionally wet, Prince William Sound, southern Kenai Peninsula into Kodiak Island. And to the north, some clearing, and then snow, light snow, or flurries or showers continue for the North Slope and Arctic coast, dry down the southeast coast. Tomorrow, no change, North Gulf Coast, maybe a little bit better chance of some light shower activity for the northern panhandle. Basically no change, dry in the interior. Probably see a few more clearing periods here in the Tanana Valley and what I got shown there, which is none at all. In a developing area of snow here over the southwest part of the state, watching this system come up, starting to kick the winds up and rain into the Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, and some of that will link up with that trough there along the Kenai Peninsula. And then for the day on Tuesday, again, pretty good snow here for the Yukon Delta, northeast to Arctic Village in the eastern Alaska Range. And a front keeps it occasionally wet for the North Gulf Coast, Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound. And right along the coast of the Panhandle, this system, more wind and rain for the western Alaska Peninsula out to the eastern Aleutians, pretty showery for the western areas. And for the coastal water forecast here, east winds at 15 knots for the south coast, central coast, east at about 20 knots, north coast, east 20 to 25 knots. Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, Stevens Passage, look for light north winds at 10 knots tomorrow with winds southeast at 10 for Clarence Strait. Then a pickup in the winds out here along the coast. East winds 25 to 30 knots and southeast at 20 for Clarence Strait, northeast 15 Stevens Passage, and north at 15 for Lynn Canal. Prince William Sound east at 15 tomorrow with small craft advisories for the North Gulf Coast for 25 to 30 knot winds. 30 knot winds out of the east for the Barren Islands, northeast 30 for Kamishak Bay, southern Cook Inlet, 20 knots for northern Cook Inlet. And for Tuesday, northeasterlies 25 to 30 knots for Cook Inlet, about the same for Kamishak Bay. Gale warnings for the Barren Islands east at 35 knots and the North Gulf Coast, east winds 30 to 35 knots. And as you can see, Prince William Sound east at 20. And for Kodiak Island, east northeasterlies at 30 knots for the day Monday. And about the same there for Bristol Bay. Also about the same for the Alaska Peninsula, northeast 25 to 30 knots. And for Tuesday, east-southeast winds 20 to 25 knots for the peninsula here, east at 20 up there at Bristol Bay, and east-southeast 20 to 25 around Kodiak Island. Eastern Aleutians tomorrow, northeast 20 to 25 knots, northeast 20 to 25 for Adak and Atka, and kind of a more variable lighter wind condition out here over the western Aleutians. Then for the day Tuesday, north to northeast winds, 25 to 30 knots for the western Aleutians. We'll seas up there around 17 feet in some areas. North at 25 knots there with 8 to 14 foot seas for Adak and Atka. And east to northeast winds 20 to 25 for the Fox Islands. And the southwest coast, Kuskokwim Delta coast, south of Nunivak Island, northeast 25 tomorrow. 30 knot northeast winds, Pribilof, St. Matthew Island, as well as St. Lawrence Island. Northeast at 20 for Norton Sound, north at 30 for the Yukon Delta coast. And the outlook for Tuesday, north 40 knots out here around St. Matthew Island, northeast 30 for the Pribilofs, and northeast 25 for the Kuskokwim Delta coast, Yukon Delta coast, north at 25, 30 knots out of the north now for St. Lawrence Island, and brisk wind advisories for Norton Sound. And for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast tomorrow, west-southwest 15 knots, light westerlies for the central coast, turning northwest at 10. On the west side there, Chukchi Sea north winds 10 to 20 knots. And then for Tuesday, brisk wind advisories for the Chukchi Sea, north to northeast winds 25 to 30 knots, northeast 20 for the western Arctic coast, north at 15 for the central coast, and west winds at 10 to 15 knots for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast.